Welcome back to In the Works, the show where we show you guys the progress we're making on our personal projects. Today I'm going to be continuing to work on my mosaic knife. You can hear Ilya out on the power hammers. He's still making more Japanese bladesmithing hammers that will be available very soon on thatworks.shop. So be sure to check that out. So where we are now is I got my guard completely roughed out. Rough fitted to the tang, but now I got to do a whole lot of filing to make it fit just right, and then we're going to pressure fit it on later. I'll probably have to do some test fittings to make sure it's close. And then, before I move on to doing the wood section of the knife, I have to curve what would be considered my quillions of the guard. So I'll have to go out, use a torch, heat those up, curl them down, then refinish the whole entire thing, get it ready to go, and then we can move on to the wood. Let's get to filing. Oh boy!
bring them down. All the ones who didn't stop dreaming, no, they don't sound quite right. And I was standing beside you when everything is blue, yeah. And I will tell you all once again what you're supposed to do. Hey, say it's alright, my darling, 'cause everything will be alright. So don't you cry, little brother. Your mama's here all through the night. So say goodbye, my father. Just push all your troubles away. Well, everything goes with a little smile on your face. Now don't you ever go and worry, and don't you ever pay no mind to all the shadows in the corners, yeah, and all the demons you may find. Say it's alright, my darling, 'cause everything will be alright. So don't you cry, little brother. Your mama's here all through the night. So say goodbye, my father. Just push all your troubles away. Well, everything goes with a little smile on your face. Say it's alright, my darling, 'cause everything will be alright. So don't you cry, my brother. Your mama's here all through the night. So say goodbye, my father. Just push all your troubles away and say, yeah, everything goes with a little smile. Everything goes with a little smile. Everything goes with a little smile on your face.
All right, let's see how this looks. I'd say that's pretty darn close to the drawing. Looks good, feels good. Polish it up.
and it's in the works. Right. And welcome back to In the
No,
Works.
Outro.
Outro?
That about does it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that about does it for now. I have a small stockpile of Japanese-style bladesmithing hammers as well as some crossbeams. Now, it is very important to address the significant difference in a Japanese-style bladesmithing hammer as well as its difference from a doghead hammer. First and foremost, doghead hammers are very similar in looks to a Japanese bladesmithing hammer. However, a doghead's hammer has a much more drastic angle here, and it's made primarily for one purpose and that purpose only, and that is cutting the grooves in handmade files. Boop, boop, boop. A doghead hammer is technically not a smithing hammer whatsoever. A Japanese-style bladesmithing hammer has a very unique design, and it assists with whatever it does in that making blades. A Japanese-style bladesmithing hammer, like this, is a deceptively simple design, but it's very sophisticated. You see, it is asymmetrical top to bottom, meaning that the center of mass ends up being right below the eye. The eye being a pivot point means that the center of mass guides the hammer to striking much straighter than a symmetrical hammer. A curved handle does the following. It improves upon that asymmetrical feature by having your hand being approximately level with the center of mass. That reduces fatigue because when you're smithing and forging a bevel, if you have a symmetrical hammer, and there's nothing you can do about it because that's how your body operates, some of the muscles expend energy into stabilizing your hammer. With an asymmetrical hammer, that problem goes away and you can forge for much longer. Another feature of this handle, it is fairly narrow this way, but fairly wide this way. It's like a katana or a sword handle, meaning, again, your hands don't get as tired as with the thick, fat, round handles. A curved handle, furthermore, allows you to do the following. So you're beveling a blade or an item, boom, 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 on the side closer to you. However, when you move to the side opposite to you, a symmetrical handle requires you to do extra little bit of a reach that, first of all, can be bad for your back, can be bad for your elbows, as well as induces more fatigue. A curved handle gives you just that slight amount of extra angle so you can forge a bevel on the other side much more efficiently. So overall, Japanese-style bladesmithing hammers, in my opinion, are, from a design standpoint, superior to symmetrical Western hammers. However, those preferences tend to get developed over time and aligned with a personal habit. So my word here is not end-all be-all on this topic.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't prefer using one until you made me one, and specifically for beveling a blade. Now, general forging, you can use them just the same, obviously, but for the beveling, it changed everything for me. Not only the reach that he's talking about, but it also almost kind of like forces you to hit true.
Correct.
Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the characteristics of the hammers that we've made. So we do have our first batch that are going up on thatworks.shop for sale. We have 3 mounted today. We have a whole pile back here that are ready to be mounted, and even more that are ready for heat treat. One of the things I really like about Ilya's hammers specifically are the flat back.
Yes.
You've seen Ilya and I do some striking stuff when we've done some traditional bloom steel and stuff where he'll just hold the hammer and aim it, and then I hit it with a
make sure if
sledgehammer.
you do that, your sledgehammer is made from iron or mild steel. Do not strike a
hard with
hard
hard.
object on a hard object. However,
But that is a really nice feature.
yes, and this hammer, for example, the heavier one, at home I use a small anvil for silversmithing. I just clamp it in the vise like that, and gives me a nice flat surface to draw out some wire.
So the faces, the striking faces that you'd normally forge with, are all really nice and rounded, and then the backs are all flat.
With the exception of one or two that will already soldered blade.
Yeah.
Now I also make standard Western crossbeam hammers. This to me is an everyday non-blade smithing hammer. So I forge out guards and leaves and figurative stuff with a crossbeam hammer because that's what it's designed for. It's your everyday general hammer. This one specifically is 4 pounds. So for a lot of beginner smiths, this would be on the heavy side. However, I prefer using heavier hammers. There's another misconception about heavier hammers that I'd like to address, although I will go into detail in a later Your Edge videos on proper beveling. So when you're doing the forging, do not use your elbow and your wrist as your primary
don't do this.
sources of force. You will exhaust yourself and will develop carpal tunnel. And that means you're breaking yourself before you get to become good at whatever you're doing.
It's true.
That is incredibly counterproductive. What you have to do is you have all these muscles on your back to activate. So when I forge, I primarily use my back to pull and maneuver the hammer. And the only thing my elbow and wrists are doing are acting on the principle of a whip on nunchucks, like whoosh, whoosh, that, and just guiding it side to the positions where I need it to
And
be.
if you do that and you develop those back and shoulder muscles like Ilya has, you can draw a very, very strong bow if you're into archery. Trust me, that's made a big difference between him drawing a bow and me drawing a bow.
Yes. And by developing back muscles, you have to force yourself into standing correctly in front of an anvil, meaning your back will not be slouched over, but most of the time straight like that. Actually, in medieval manuscripts, when you see smiths being described as forging something, it is obviously exaggerated, but they usually stand with their back straight. Even if you look at Eastern manuscripts from Japan, the sitting smith still has his back straight like that. That's because they're using the shoulder muscle and the back muscle to manipulate the hammer. And that way you can actually forge further away from yourself, meaning it's safer for your eyes, chest, so on and so forth, and you can forge for much longer. And you will not develop a hump at age 50.
Now, more about the hammers that we're making. Like I said, they are, by the time this video goes up, they're going to be listed on the website. You can see the difference in sizes is about as small as we go, and this is around about as big as we go, but we can go much bigger if you truly want. They are going to be listed on the website. When you go to checkout and actually purchase one of these through PayPal, just write in there roughly what size you want. This, just for reference, this is about 2.5 pounds, and this is closer to 4.5, 5 pounds. So if you have sizes in mind, mark it in there and we'll get it as close as possible. These are forged one at a time, not on a drop hammer. They're forged one at a time and freehand forged. So everyone's a little bit different, but we'll get it within a few ounces definitely for you. So if you round up to about what half poundage you want, say you want 3.5 pounds, we'll make sure you get exactly what it is that you want. But definitely check those out. And like you said, we have mostly bladesmithing hammers, but there will be some crossbeams available as well. There's a lot of cars on this road today.
One other thing, the reason why I focus primarily on Japanese style bladesmithing hammers is because they're very hard to come by when they're made properly on the US market. And I just decided to make sure that if somebody's interested in those hammers, that they get the right one.
Yeah.
They're at a reasonable price, and most of the money, besides the materials costs and some labor costs, go towards me getting that big, expensive GRS setup with a microscope that has a digital feed, the little ball vise stand, the ball vise itself, the Graver Max, all the accoutrements that go with it, the lapping thing for
And
sharpening.
I know you guys want to see more engraving videos, so that setup comes with a camera in the microphone, in the microscope. so he can show you the super close-up details that I'm having trouble getting with my handheld camera. So that'll really help him as an artist be able to create new things, and help the channel as well. We'll be able to get a lot better videos going of engraving. So consider buying a hammer, even if you're not forging. It helps us out a lot. You can buy t-shirts, links below. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people have messaged us or talked to us in person and said we should charge a lot more for these hammers, but that's not the point, right?
No, and Matt has actually been asking me why do I charge like the price that I charge for hammers, and then we went to Blade Show, and you have young kids that's going to be their first hammer.
Right.
And they already spent what, $40 on a ticket to go to Blade, and then boom, 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 things build up. The soda bottle costs $5 there, so on and so forth. So, yeah, they're fairly affordable. We've had dads going on a weekend with their son, and that's the gift. So they're fairly affordable. The engraved hammers, though, will be much more expensive, because engraving is a luxury, and I don't feel an obligation to deliver. I'm delivering art. I'm not delivering specifically a tool that you will use every day. So not that you can't use it every day, but the whole point about an engraved hammer is that you're buying a piece of art that you can use, and being a luxury, the prices will go up, and there's no upper limit to the price of that.
So initially we'll be putting up pretty standard ones. Later on, as we get some momentum, Ilya will be taking some time and doing some engraved ones. Each one of the hammers that we're making has Ilya's maker's mark on it, which is a feather and a fan. So you'll know.
Because everything I do is so light.
Yeah. So, so everything, all the hammers you get from us will be marked. They will have that. Ones that we make on camera in the future for some episodes might have the T and the W on it, and we'll announce those later. But initially, go to the website, thatworks.shop. Check out what we have for sale. We have some awesome swords and knives.
And
Cars up there. Also, you can help us if you don't have $150 for a hammer. You can buy a t-shirt. It helps us out a lot. The links are below the video. In every video that we do, you saw Ilya wear several of them in this episode. We'll have more and more designs. I'm working on some actually right now. So if you care to support us, think about a hammer.
And I have the tracking number on a big package of stabilized wood from Russia.
Let's get there when we get there.
We'll get there when we get there.
But we will be having stabilized wood up on the site to purchase as well very, very soon. Anything else you need to mention? By the time this video comes out, Kyra Warrior, his video will already be out. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. One thing I wanted to mention too, I looked at the analytics for our channel last night. Only about 11.5% of you have actually rung the bell. I appreciate you guys subscribing, but if you don't want to miss out on any of these awesome videos, make sure you go to the channel, ring the bell to make sure you get the notifications for each and every video.
What's ringing the bell?
They know. Ring the bell, you get notifications.
I don't know. I follow a lot of Shiba Inu accounts.
Did you ring the bell?
I don't remember.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this episode of In the Works. I think the Slav and I both made great progress on our projects. And if you enjoyed this video, check out a couple of our other videos. And as always, don't forget to subscribe.